All right, we're live. All right, all right, all right. It is Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to the Real Talk Show hosted by Rochelle Lawson, Queen of Fabulous, and myself from Dr. Kim Brown Barber, better known as Dr. Kim with Journey to Becoming. So, you know, the Queen of Fabulous is from Blissful Living. She'll tell you more about that later. But we're so glad that you guys could be here with us today. Yes, you can see I'm out in nature today on purpose since we're talking about work-life balance today. So I said, hey, we'd show a little bit of work-life balance by being out in nature. So I wanted to just welcome everybody. Real Talk is a live stream podcast designed with the mindset of connecting and inspiring and motivating and supporting and uniting women all around the world. It is a safe place where women can come together to discuss the real issues and challenges that women face in today's society, right? It's been designed to be a safe place where women can share their wisdom, receive wisdom, and talk about what we can do to make this world a better place. And you know, we as women, we can do it. So a little bit about me. I'm the founder and CEO of Journey to Becoming, which exists to coach clients in their journey to their purpose, to develop the strategy of motivating, empowering, and showing accountability required to succeed in business, classes, universities, and personal lives. And so we focus on women and we focus on college students. So I want to hand it off to my co-host, the Queen of Fabulous, to tell a little bit about her. Rochelle, take it away.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rochelle Marie Lawson, and I am the queen of feeling fabulous. I'm multitasking. I am the founder and owner. I'm the founder of two businesses. One is a business I've had for 31 years in the telecommunications industry, and the other one I've had for 13 years in the lifestyle industry. And so I am really all about our discussion tonight because I think it's going to be fabulous. It's a great topic. And we've got some fabulous gals and all of you guys out there watching. Chime in if you can and let us know your thoughts or if you have anything to say about the topic of discussion. But that's pretty much me. Just me.
All right. Well, we have one of our guests today, and I'm going to let her tell you more about herself, but her name is Erin Howard, and we met a long time ago. So I'm not even going to go into all her particulars. I want her to be able to say who she is, what she does, and how many kids she has, because part of this work-life balance is really important to understand that when you have children, it makes it even more of a challenge, right? So Erin, take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first, I just want to say thank you for the invitation. It was nice to get an email from you. We connected a long time ago back here in Kentucky. And so I was just thrilled that you thought of me. So because I'm still figuring this out, like work-life balance, it's, so fluid because one day you have it figured out and the next everything blows up and there you are at square one. So my title, I do have a job. I work at the wonderful Bluegrass Community and Technical College in Lexington, Kentucky, and I am the director of an amazing program, the Latinx and Immigrant Services Office. I've been in this position and really dedicated myself to nurturing and growing the work for about 15 years now. And just recently, I've been named interim associate dean for the new Global Learning Center.
So congratulations!
And
oh my gosh!
Yeah, so a lot is happening.
That's great.
I didn't even know that. She surprised me on that one.
So I'm in the classroom and I'm all over the community and every day is different and I love that, but it can be all consuming sometimes. So, and I do have one son, a wonderful little boy who's going to be starting kindergarten in August. His name is Isaiah. And, apart from my titles, I'm an artist. I love to paint. Oil pastels and acrylics are my thing. And I'm a gymnast. I was a competitive gymnast as a young child. And I've kept it up. I'm a 40-year-old person that likes to stand on my hands and flip. So
And that's really neat. I really want you to tell something about that because I learned about what she did about being a gymnast, like where she goes all over the world. Well, of course, she can't travel like she was traveling. And she does these different flips and standing on her heads and she takes pictures all over the world. So you got to tell a little bit more about that one once, because I really do want to be able to, for the audience to hear that. I mean, it's awesome. I don't know if you have any pictures near you, but you got to be able to share that.
I don't think I do. I can pull one up. Though,
okay, that's okay. Yeah. That's all right.
I'll get one ready. I'll get one ready.
All right, that sounds good. But also we have with us another guest, Tasneem Muhammad, and we want her to talk a little bit about what your title is, a little bit about yourself, and how many kids you have.
Hello everyone. I'm Tasneem Muhammad. I have 3 children. They range in age from 6 to 25, so it's a lot of fun. I am an academic advisor. I'm also a therapist. Haven't finished my licensure hours, but have that in progress as well.
Awesome. Welcome to the Real Talk Show. So, as everybody knows, our focus tonight is dealing with work-life balance, right? And so I said, our guests tonight are really going to be able to lend a whole lot to it, because when I was looking up just some basic information, it showed that like 2/3 of women who are working in the U.S. Have children under the age of 18. So who are working women who have children under the age of 18, that's 2/3. I was like, and that was back in 2018. So you can only imagine how it is now in 2020, right? Are we in 2020, 2021? I can't even keep up with it now. It has all been since 2020 started with COVID-19. It's like, what year are we in? But yes, in 2021, right? It is really, you can only imagine if that was 2018, 2019 year, how that looks. And so let's start with, jump in here, Rochelle, but let's start with Tasneem. You just said you have kids ranging from, now I know you caught that, 6 to 25. Is that what I heard? I want to make sure I don't have technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, woo.
Right.
She's busy.
Yes.
So talk to us about how that is and having that range of, children and being able to be a professional woman as yourself.
Well, I think the number one thing is planning, but also patience. Having been a mother who was a young mother, with my first, a young mother, and then going through undergrad, having a young child, being, a young adult myself, I learned early that planning is key, and even planning like your fun time, right? Because that can keep you motivated. It's like, yes, I'm going to get through this paper, or I'm going to get through this week, because I know at the end of the week, I'm going to have XYZ kind of rewards, even if it's just, those Calgon moments. I'm showing my age maybe a little bit with that one. But, like literally, I know
I can relate to that.
and the motivation for things like keeping a bedtime, and also like not giving the kids too much junk, all of those things help for me to have my peace. So just remembering also to like keeping my boundaries as a mom is helping me, although it can be hard at times. But,
That's awesome. Aaron, I want to ask you the same question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. I kind of cut out.
Go ahead, Rochelle.
So what about for you, Aaron? How do you manage with doing your professional life as well as your mommy life and keeping it balanced?
Well, I think, I've been, as a mother, there's a certain point where you have to cut it off. Like there's no choice, otherwise, like who's going to pick up your child from childcare or school, and all of those things that go into being a mom and managing the expectations and keeping your child safe and healthy. I've had to set some pretty hard boundaries. So as soon as I leave the office, I can't turn it back on until after bedtime. And, when Isaiah was younger, he's only 5. So, he's still a pretty small child. I would find myself, putting him to bed and then immediately trying to go back to work at home, trying to catch up with things or stay, what I felt like was the productive level that I had before I had him. And it just kind of dawned on me that that's no way to live. I wasn't happy. I wasn't mentally in a good place because all I was doing was either caring for someone or working and producing. So, if I don't get it done, obviously there are times when deadlines happen, so you have to put those extra long hours in. But, if it's not pressing and I can just save work items for the next day, it'll be there for me the next day. And so I've just really started to give myself that grace that I'm one person. And, I work really hard, my 8 to 5 or 8 to 6, whatever that can be. And when I go home, I deserve, and my child deserves, my undivided attention. And then when he goes to bed, I deserve a little bit of space to play or to create or just to relax. So,
right.
I think the biggest thing for me is not to compare myself before I had him to myself now. My productivity looks different,
Right.
But I'm bringing a different lens to the work that I do. And I feel like that depth that I'm bringing to it now is I may not produce as much, but the quality is so much more on point.
Right. Yeah. I know, Dr. Kim, you have kids too. So when you were doing your things with regards to, establishing your education and your career and raising your kids, what did you do?
Well, she didn't swept the script on me right there. Okay.
That's fair.
I love it. I mean, really, a lot of what you're hearing already.
I'll share too. I will definitely.
Okay. I love it. I was going to say, because I was going to get ready to ask you to, right? But no, this is good. I think a lot of what you're hearing already, planning was my thing. I'm a planner anyway. Like that's me. That's who I am, a planner. So I think because I'm a planner, planning was my thing. I had scheduled time for me to work on, school. I had a scheduled time for me to work, with work. I had a scheduled time for even if I was going to go in, a trip. I had scheduled time for everything. So like, when it was time for me to work on homework or different other things dealing with, going towards my educational career, I booked it as a meeting. So like when people would say, oh, can you do such and such on such and such a day? Nope, I have a meeting that day. That meeting's with myself, but yeah, I have a meeting that day, right? Or if you have the time where you're going to have the time where you're going to relax, you have to have a meeting with yourself. You need to put that in your book. And I would just put that in. And I think that helped a lot. And then really having my kids as they were growing through it to understand what I was doing, because as they got older, I was able to really talk with them and they would understand what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and the difference that it's making. So, and hoping to, really pour into them about, being successful and what that looks like and what it takes with the sacrifice and having them to understand, okay, I'm experiencing all these great things that I'm getting, but it's a sacrifice. Mom and dad are sacrificing to be able to do this. Mm-hmm. What about you, Rochelle?
Yeah. Okay. So for me, I started my business before I had kids. So when I did have kids, let me rephrase that. I have two stepsons, and then we had our own. And so because I had a business, it was a little bit different for me. I had a little bit more flexibility, being that I am the CEO of my company, but I had a little bit more flexibility when the kids were younger. So I would there was a lot of planning that went into it. I moved to a community where I didn't know anybody, so I couldn't rely on family or anything. So I had to be real strategic with regards to how things worked out with kids. There were times like, and then my office was it still is, it's in San Jose, California, and I lived about an hour southeast of it. So there was times where I would really have to be strategic with planning, and I eventually did get a nanny and had her help me out. Was a girl in college who had me help me out, like to pick my kids up from daycare. So I, if I couldn't get there in time, and to get them situated until I got home, or if I needed to go do something later in the evening and my husband was away traveling on business working projects, then I had her. As my kids got older, there was a period of time though, for about 4 years that I was really, really being out in Silicon Valley. So I pretty much moved my part of what I did for the corporation into a home office. And it gave me a lot of flexibility. My kids were very active. I had an athlete and a dancer. And so they were always involved in stuff. And so I had to, having the office at home allowed me to be more flexible with what I could work. I could be there for all their activities. I could be at every basketball game, baseball, football, track and field, meet, practice, dance, whatever. But then I had a time in the evening once they start their homework where I
going in and out a little bit. You still there?
But
Rochelle, we're kind of getting every other word right now.
I see. Yeah. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, there we go. We hear you now. It's okay. We hear you now.
Anyways, that's me. Can you hear me? So I just had I had flexibility, but I was able to work things around my schedule. But I know what's happening with the virtual the homeschooling and stuff. It's funny because my kids they're way grown, like, they're in their third decade of life, but they would be like, Mom, if that was us, having to be homeschooled today, woo, I know you'd be just towing the line. And I said, you got that right, because I'd be having to do my work and make sure you guys stay diligent with and I said, that monster would come out, and my daughter goes, yeah, I know, we'd be having all kind of chores to do if we didn't do our toe the line, so to speak. So I want to ask the ladies small children with regards to the homeschooling, because I have some my grandkids, they're doing the homeschooling stuff, and my grandkids are 15 down to 4, and so I hear their struggles and I hear their challenges. So I want to ask you ladies, and whoever wants to jump in first, what is it, how is it working for you, or how are you making it work so that there's synchronicity in you doing your professional life if you're having to work from home, as well as dealing with keeping your kids academically strong because they're being in this virtual school world?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to jump in. Okay. Tasmin, Aaron?
Well, I would say that every day is different, in part because so my daughter, she's a new 6-year-old. She turned 5 at the end of December, but she's in she turned 6 at the end of December, but she's in first grade. So there was already yes, she can read, but she's 5. And she's a really active, curious 5-year-old at the time when she started. So, that part has continued. And then she's at a Waldorf-inspired charter school. And so sitting still is not part of their curriculum already. And so then their schedule for a very long time was a half an hour online every day, and the rest was up to mom. So,
wow.
So they've changed it a little bit, but they stop and start through the day, which wasn't necessarily helpful. So there's like a half an hour between 8:30 and 9, and then they come back at 10 for a half an hour, and then, so I basically negotiate it for time in my work schedule. I have a 3-hour block in the middle of the day, and that's where I really focus with her, sit with her, and do things, try to squeeze in lunch, and then they have their afternoon session, and after that, like for her to take a nap or at least lay down and be quiet. But I extended my work day. I'm also in school in a doctoral program. So yeah, it's again that, my schedule every day, it's a little bit different as far as what I'm doing with her, but that 3-hour block is there to either make up for what we weren't able to do while I was in sessions. Being an advisor, I'm in Zoom face-to-face. Like it's a non-negotiable. So sometimes she's in class and I'm in Zoom, and it is what it is.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds great. I understand that my little grandson told me, he's 9, and I said, do you like, doing the school on Zoom and all that? He says, no, because I don't get enough time, and there's always more stuff I want to do, and I want to play with my friends, and he basically, what he told me is he missed the socialization of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's a very smart kid. You have to keep him extremely challenged because he's a seeker. He's like a little sponge. He wants to learn, but he feels that the environment at home is very constricted because he's in a room with a sister, and she's on her class. She's older, and she, and so, and I understand it. I mean, it's got to be a difficult place to be in, trying to maintain that balance. And you're in school yourself, so you're like, I got to make sure my child is getting a great education, that I do my job, get my homework done myself, and then still be the mom, the wife, that cook, clean up the house, keep for everything, the love bug for everybody. So it can be quite challenging to balance.
Definitely,
all of it, for sure.
Definitely.
The other part that you just brought up, the mom, CEO of your household part of it. Mm-hmm. So I have 2 Instapots.
I know where you're going with this.
So it's like, okay, this is Monday, Tuesday, this is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is every man for himself.
Yeah.
And, so.
Yeah.
I get that. That's real. And, that's one of the things you think too. They came out with the Instapots and the air fryer. Mm-hmm. And then the air fryer, everybody's been talking about using the air fryer as working women, who are balancing it out, right? So you talk about the Instapot. When you said Instapot, it reminded me of hearing about the air fryer and everybody using that now. Now, Erin, now you have a 5-year-old who hasn't started school yet.
Right.
Yeah.
So where are you in the midst of all of this with the education?
The shutdown hit us in March. And so it was from like March to July where I had no childcare support, and I don't have family here either. So it was just my husband and I trying to figure it out. Mark works in college athletics, so he never really stopped. There's the athletic season still managed to go on, and there was a lot of COVID protocols that go with that. So he's been gone a lot. And, during the day, I had flexibility, have understanding with, my supervisors and coworkers. But during the day, I just had to suspend a lot of my own expectations. I like a clean house. I like things where they're supposed to be. And I've had to just while I'm working, Isaiah is a very independent, creative kid. So he plays really well by himself. And he's learned how to actually navigate Netflix, which is so scary to me, but so he manages himself, and he'll come in and then he'll sit by me in my workroom, which was my art studio. Now it's is both an office and an art studio. And he'll just sit by me and he'll color and he'll pop in on meetings, and I just make it work. It's so exhausting and it's not sustainable. I've definitely had some low moments where I just thought I don't know that I could do it anymore. And then his daycare opened up small little groups in August. So he's able to go to his preschool with 6 other young people. And so he's seeing his friends and he has that socialization. So that was a lifesaver, because I don't know that I could have kept it up for a year. Like just mentally.
Right.
I'd be working all day and then, trying to be a mom and going between like a high level meeting to make believe and then like back to advising a student or teaching a class to then needing to help in, potty, and then like all of that stuff. It just, it's like being, thrown back and forth, and then trying to catch up with work at nighttime until like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and then having to wake up at 5 o'clock. It's just, it's not
it's
possible.
Yeah.
So,
like you said it's not sustainable. That was the word you used, and that makes sense. And I'm hearing that, what's sustainable, but I'm also hearing that it changes. It depends on what's going on, right? At that time in your season, in your life, with your kids, with you, I'm sure before Tasmin was actually in the doctorate program, that it looked a little different than it does right now, because now she has to add that part to it. And then with you, with your son that you had to have with you all day because your husband was gone, it wasn't like, oh, go upstairs with your dad while I'm in this meeting. It was like, nope, sit right here, and I need you to do this while you go on and do what you need to do. But was it ever a time, and this is for all of you all, and including you, Rochelle, was it ever a time, and I already know the answer, but I want to hear from you, of when you just felt like, you know what, forget this. This is too crazy. I need some help. I mean, did you ask for help? Did you not ask for help? I mean, some people are around their family and they have family to help. Some people are not around their family. What did you do? I mean, this is the Real Talk show. So, to be able to talk for real about those times when you feel like, oh my gosh, I can't do this another day. I mean, what's the real talk on this?
During the pandemic, I would have like these mental breakdowns on Sunday night, knowing that Monday was coming and I was going to have to like play, like do all of these things, put all these hats on at the same time. And then I would like calm myself down, and I have a passion planner. So I'd be putting everything in the planner, trying to create some kind of normalcy for myself and my son. And then I would, Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday were fine. Thursday, I would be really exhausted. And Friday, the wheels would just fall off. So I just started taking Fridays off, I can't do this, so I would take a personal time, which I had. And I know I was very lucky and very privileged to have time to be able to do that. And then everybody, my husband's mom, and so my mother-in-law and my parents got COVID tested in June. And so Isaiah went on a little family tour and spent some time with them in June, because I just, it was like, we don't know when we're going to open the daycares back up. And we were on month 5 at that point, and I just had this moment, like, I can't do this. I need him to, like, I love my child. I need him to go somewhere.
There you go. Real talk, ladies.
So he spent a week with my mother-in-law, and then he spent a week with my parents, and then he went back to my mother-in-law's, and, we were able to kind of keep him in a little bubble during that time.
Wow,
amazing. What about you, Tasmin?
I understand that sanity and all of that.
Oh yeah,
what about
sanity is real.
Oh yes. I think for me, I know
for me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go. You're the guest, so you have privilege.
Oh, well, thank you.
There you go.
For me, I would say outside of COVID time, I grew up in California, but I've lived out of the state a number of times with varying number of children, right? So the last time when I was working on my master's and I had all 3 kids, I was in Alabama. One thing that I've learned to do is to, you build your tribe, like they say, right? And reaching out to people and coordinating with, especially with other moms who seem to be in the same situation. So either other moms who are students or single moms when I was single, like, like let's help each other out. And so when we got into COVID, although, I'm back home technically, my family is kind of close, but my approach, and I think this is just like a technique I learned as a therapist, is don't think about what you can't do. Think about what you can do. So we can go on beach walks. We can go for a walk through the neighborhood. We can, all the things that we can do, we're going to do. Right. And we are going to focus there. And so to this day, like earlier today, my 6-year-old is like, we went, because we went on a beach walk yesterday, and she's like, are we going on a beach walk today? And I'm like, no, I have something to do this evening. Right. But her focus is on what we can do. And that has really helped me. And then making, again, those connections with parents at the school, and play dates. Like how can you pull off a play date? Well, we can go, and walk on the beach 6 feet apart, you and your little over there, me and mine here, and we'll do that. But it's been helpful because for a while, I think everyone was just like, no, I have to stay inside of my little, my apartment or my little cave just with my people, and we can't talk to anybody. And so turning that around, I think, was really helpful for me, but also for my youngest, especially, who, like Erin mentioned earlier, was just really hurting for social interaction. And we actually ended up I had a birthday party for her, 100% outside. And the little asterisk, I used to be a teacher, right? So I know a lot of little tricks. So I basically made the birthday party, like there were stations and activities at each station. And
nice.
I recruited my family members as cleaners, right? So every time someone touches something, okay, before anybody leaves, wipe it all down. Da, da, da.
That's good.
Yeah, but people came, and the parents, I was like, oh, it'll be an hour. I promise you guys it'll be an hour. No one's going to be exposed. I had to tell the parents, like, guess what? It is time for you to go home. I mean, they were like, I haven't been anywhere all this time. Please don't make
my goodness.
They were probably so happy to be out with their kids.
You already know it.
They didn't want to go back to the game. Right?
You already know it. Oh my goodness. That'd be like, no.
At the grocery store, and she was like, I heard that party was amazing. Like, I guess
so we know who to call on when we want to plan an outdoor party for kids
here, So
that's adorable.
Impressive.
I love it. I love how you said you focus on what we can do. I think out of the conversation tonight, that's huge, because I think so many people need to really change their form of thinking and focus on what we can do. And I was in total agreement with you. Like, I would go outside for walks. I couldn't get to the gym, so I'm going outside for walks and like just letting nature. If I'm stuck, I'd go outside and breathe that fresh air. So I'm getting exercise. I'm working my lungs to keep them working. My cardiovascular system. I'm burning calories, and I'm getting clarity in my mind. So when I came back, it was like that solution was there, or I may have been feeling a little bitchy, and I came back and whatever it was, I released it. But it was good for my just my balance, just something simple as that. So, and then the whole thing, like you said, focus on what we can. That's amazing. I think, I think that's huge. And I just, I think more people need to pay attention to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So, Rochelle.
Yes.
Rochelle, you said you talked about some of the stuff that you do, because she's an avid physical person that likes to go to the gym. She's an avid gym goer. Am I correct, Rochelle?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So see, she had other ways of making it happen. Talk to us about it.
Well, like one of the biggest thing was, and let me tell you guys, that quarantine 15, didn't come my way. Because, and it wasn't like I didn't, I had indulged in libations. I am a sweetaholic, so I would bake. That's one thing I like to cook. So I would cook more, bake. I don't have no kids at home, but I'm cooking, like I'm cooking for 2 people, like I'm cooking for, 6 people. But I would cook and I just would indulge in, all the goodness. That's just, what it's all about. But I made it diligent. I would go out and I would do walks. I would go for a 2-mile walk, sometimes twice a day, but definitely every day, once a day.
Wow.
I use that walk for meditative time. I would go by myself. Yeah. Sometimes I'd be playing my iTunes. I'm going to take it back, KMEL from the Bay Area, or, smooth jazz, or, something like that. But I'm not in the Bay, right? I'm in Texas, but, something like that. But I would make sure I did that every day. I always thought it was for the sanity of not only myself, but anybody that I might encounter, because I just wanted to make sure I stayed balanced and cool. And it was great. I got the exercise, and sometimes I'd be yakking on the phone. I'd be on a business meeting, walking, down the street with people. I'd be but
that's good.
It kept me moving, because I'm not a youngin'. So it kept me moving, and it helped me to be able to indulge in all that goodness without putting on that extra 15. Whatever,
you had to put on
but then
the COVID-15
like training stuff at home, and stuff like that. But yeah, I was not being able to go to the gym was just like
yeah,
it was a little bit of a challenge. But I have some things, so I've just like pulled out the hat trick at the magic box and did some stuff, and it just worked. But also just being able to move around, and I would also get like meetings with my friends, and we do these Zoom things and just have a chit chat or do a challenge, like plank challenge or sit up challenge, or
nice.
Jumping, we would do these things and it was the funniest thing, because sometimes we'd like, okay, have a cocktail first and then let's try to do this, and we did it with a cocktail, so we made it fun,
right.
The cocktail could be alcoholic or non-alcoholic, but it was like your favorite beverage. Sometimes I'd drink green, sometimes I'd have a vodka martini. I mean, it just depends on the kind of day I had and how I needed to just let it go. But it was still fun. It was still
That's
very
awesome.
fun.
And so you always had the physical going to keep the sanity. But ask Erin what she has behind her.
Oh yeah, I set it up here at home. We had the resources to do this.
Look, we got that out from the minute we got on. I'm like,
I already knew you did, Rochelle. That's why I said something.
I need to go to her house. No, but the gyms are back open. So, I'm like, okay. But it's and yeah, I've been doing to the gym for like 30 years. So it's just it's natural. It's natural as indulging in that half a pint of Ben and Jerry's ice cream.
Yes.
Non-dairy type, because I'm lactose intolerant. So the non-dairy.
Okay.
But yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That is so amazing. And you're all of you guys are hitting on that with the activity, the movement, right? That's been so key. And that's what I've been, trying to do too. I've been active my whole life too, pom-pom dancer, that's the, cheerleader. I've always been active. So I always have to get up and do something in the morning, how in the morning, because I'm usually like 5:40, 6 o'clock, so it's still kind of dark right now in the morning, because after it comes spring and summer it's easier, but then I would go on my walk. So right now where I have a hill in front of my house, I just go up and down the hill, right? It's like what'd you say, Tasmin? Focus on what you can do, right? Yes. So I was focused on what I can do. So I see that's important, but also with work-life balance right now, we're doing this. What are we doing? Sitting.
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
For meetings and meetings and
Mhm.
meetings. So part of work-life balance, how are you guys, even though you're telling me that, okay, I'm going and working out, I'm doing this, but while you're in the work day, what are you doing for work-life balance with that? Because you have to do some things even during the work day and not just before, like I'm doing it, or like some of you are doing it, or after, or 2 times a day when you can. What are you doing to have this, to equate, because they're equating this to the new smoking. So talk to me.
Yeah. I have here at home. I have the best setup because my art studio has this like old architecture table, drafting table that it's like hydraulic, so I can stand a lot of the day if I want to. And so I do most of the day. I'm
Great.
standing when I'm working for here. I do have to go to the office 2 times a week, and that's when I have to sit. And I feel so confined because you can't really walk around campus like normal right now. And if you do, you have to obviously be masked up. And you're even in the office when you're by yourself, you have to be masked up. And so I have this app on my phone for yoga. And so I'll do like 5-minute, have like desk yoga and chair, and I'll just do that when I'm feeling stiff, or I'll walk around my office, and I have to move. And and sometimes I'll set timers, like every 2 hours. If I haven't gotten up, it'll go off, and that'll remind me, get up, take a breath, take a walk down the hall, go up a flight of stairs, do something. So that's really helped me. It helps me stay focused, and then also too, just not getting so inward, right? So sucked into the work that I forget to eat and do other things that are important for self-care.
Rochelle, Tasmin, y'all gonna add your 2 cents?
Because of the
Tasneem,
sorry.
It's just a lag time, that's all.
Okay. That 3-hour block that I have in the middle of the day, a lot of times, like I said, that's when I squeeze in the beach walk with my daughter, or like today for one of their activities, they needed sticks and yarn. So it's like, okay, we're going to go on a half-hour walk and gather sticks. So
Nice.
yeah, so I squeeze in whatever her activities might be.
but that's good. For me, I'm kind of like Aaron. I have to be moving. So I have a thing on my desk that I can lift my computer up, so I can stand. But also I have set on my phone every hour to get up and walk around, and I have it set for 15 minutes. So that's the amount of time I can allow myself. I don't necessarily I could take 2 minutes, run up and down the stairs a couple times, or just go outside and walk around the block, or, that's a quick walk, but I have to get up and move, because, if you don't get up and move, then you get stagnation in your lower extremities. And then the whole nursing aspect, plays into my head. And it's like, then your ankles swell up and you get poor venous circulation. I'm going to take it there. But, and as far as women, when we're hormonal or PMSing, we have an excess amount of fluid in us anyway. So, and the fluid always goes in the areas we don't want it to, your belly, your boobs, and your ankles, so during that time period, it's just natural. So, and I think that's what one day I just was like, oh my God, look at my ankles. I look like, an elephant. What the heck? And I don't have circulatory issues. So it's like, oh, the stagnation, because there's no movement. So that's what I said. I'm gonna start, because if I have it in my phone, or if I have it on a timer, I will do it. If I say I'm gonna do it in my head, well, let me call later. Let me just work on this document. That becomes, and so if I have something just chinging at me, get up, girl, get up, girl. I'll do it. But I have to suggest you set some kind of time, just get out and do some movement. Otherwise, it can set up for other health conditions that could be just as detrimental as COVID if we don't,
right.
if we don't be mindful of just minding our bodies.
Wow. Awesome.
What about you,
It's just so many.
Because you asked me all the questions. I'm
Ooh, you weren't supposed to pick that up. Oh, Rochelle, you good. I love you. I tell you, it's the same thing. I'm be honest, okay? Because this is real talk. I'm be honest. I have issues. Okay, I have issues of not getting up as much as I should get up because I have meetings back to back to back, and I'm not going to say anything, but Tasmin could probably testify to this because of my work schedule. But Tasmin, just act like you don't know any of that right now. It's just that. In all honesty, I do. I am guilty of not doing that, and then all of a sudden, I'm 3 or 4 meetings in, and it's like, oh my gosh, and I'm wondering like, why is my back hurting? And it's like, oh, I haven't been up for 4 meetings, so you figure that's 4 hours. And so then I get up and then I move or whatever. So yeah. I've been trying to be better, and I'm listening to you guys here. We're putting it on the phone, but I mean, like if I'm in the middle of a meeting in 15 minutes, I can't just get up and walk. But one of the things I am going to look at investing into is what Aaron was talking about, is the Varidesk. So that at least that way I can be standing up and not sitting down during the meeting. So there you have it. There's my confession.
I like that. I mean, those little desks are great. I mean, I love it. Mine is not a Varidesk. It's an Amazon generic type of desk, but yeah. I can lift it up. You know, it sits on my. I can lift it up. I can, and I like it because again, it just standing. And then if I'm standing, you're standing, you can do. It's hard to do that kind of stuff when you're sitting. Like the ankle stuff, where you do that, but it's not the same. It's not the same.
Now, let me ask you guys, why have you guys on here? I want your opinion. Because I am trying to be proactive about this and doing something. You know what I was thinking about is this chair, the chair where you can be it's a bicycle, but it's a chair, and you can sit on it while you're sitting at your desk, and you can actually just like be, doing that. And I'm when you want to, and I'm like, I don't know, but it doesn't have a back. Think about it. It doesn't have a rest for your back. So it wouldn't be, I mean, what are your thoughts on that, guys? I mean, I'm talking about work-life balance. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about that? Would that work?
It sounds tempting, but I have
you have to have a strong core.
I have to have that support.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Then that, you just gave me my answer.
You would have a strong core.
I mean, if you still back a chair to lean on, replace it with every once in a while.
Probably can do that for a little bit. Right? Yeah. Maybe a little bit.
Yeah. But not for all the time. Like I would have to have my actual chair to put back in after a while, right? I think I like the Varidesk better. Mm-hmm. I can just sit up and, like you said, I can be doing different things.
Standing just seems so much more natural because, like, I'm one of those people, I don't read when I'm like on the treadmill or on the Octane or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, to me, I can't do that and actually retain what I'm reading. Like, I might listen to an audiobook or I'll listen to a podcast or mainly music, but like, I can't like read a book. So I think that would be the same thing. Like, how am I going to, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. I'm like you, Aaron. I can't read on the treadmill either. All I can do is I got to get in my zone. Headphones on. I can listen to a book. I listen to music. I can listen to meditation.
Yeah.
But the reading, oh Lordy, no. And I can't watch I'm like, I'm at the gym. I'm not gonna. Why do I need to watch Netflix at the gym or be on social media? I'm only here for a certain amount of time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so. I can just see me trying to, pedal and, I'm in a meeting and it's heated and I'm like, no, it fell off. And clumsy as I am, just pedal right up. Oh my gosh. Rochelle, you crash? Yeah. Or,
wait a minute, everybody stop the meeting.
See, that would be me too. If I get heated about something,
oh gosh. Yeah. I could see that. Good. No, you're absolutely right. Okay. So, I mean, I definitely got a hard no on that. Thank you, guys. It wasn't even a little bit. It was like a hard no. Okay. That's X off the list. Thank you. I'll keep looking for the Varidesk or something similar to it. So that's awesome. Well, I hate this because now we're at the end, and I hate this because we're having an awesome time. Are we not, Rochelle?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
I
just want to say, like, one last question to both of you all. What would you say to working women who are trying to find that work-life balance and having a hard time right now, especially during COVID? What would you say to them?
I personally would say you're normal and it's okay, you know,
That's good.
and fight for those stolen moments. Like, I think, you know, especially during the early part of the pandemic, I got to experience something that a lot of mothers never get to do, that I've, you know, chosen career is a part of their life. My son was my alarm clock for a few days, for a few weeks. You know, he would wake us up at 6:45, and that's when I would start my day, as opposed to getting up really early to work out or try to get more hours into my job. And you know, being able to spend those precious moments with him, like, I know I'll never really get that again. So really just treasuring those moments, and you know, bigger picture, like, this is just going to be, it's not for forever, and we're gonna make it through it. And I think we're not going to remember the messy house. We're not going to remember the things that we weren't able to do as well or control, but we will remember, you know, those special moments with our families and with our children. So I would just say, you know, don't worry so much about perfection, and our kids are going to be fine, and we're going to be fine. And send them to grandma's if you have to. It's okay. Okay.
Oh, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Oh,
Yeah.
Tasneem?
What
Well,
about
I think
Tasneem?
Aaron touched on everything, but I guess that I would, you know, just to piggyback on what she said, to keep like yourself at the forefront of your mind, right? That you are the core of your family, and so the core needs to be well rested, healthy, and feeling supported. So reach out for what you need, but also don't be afraid to use those CPAL hours. You know, if you have them, use those CPAL hours and use them for what they're for, which is time with your littles, right? But also take advantage of your sick days. You know, mental health days are necessary and a real thing. And taking time to clear your headspace, and then helping that, then being how you take time to organize and plan ahead. Definitely do that and feel good about doing it, because it's necessary.
Awesome. Just awesome.
Love it.
Rochelle, you want to say some parting words to take us on out of here?
Okay. Well, I want to first of all thank Aaron and Tasneem for joining us live this evening. It's great. You ladies are great, and Aaron, I love the grandma story, because I didn't tell a little secret that I had with regards to my mother-in-law would get upset with my father-in-law, and it always happened between the months of, like, say, March through June, and she lived in Southern California. And so what she would do is she would come up and she would stay with us for 3 months. And so I had that, you know, very, oh, grandma was good. Grandma, she wouldn't let me cook. She wouldn't, you know, and so it was great. So I totally, that was my down low secret. You know, she did that for a while. And then, you know, of course the kids got older and she got older as well. And, but it was great. But I want to just thank you ladies, because you shared some real insight and some really good information. And I don't think a lot of times as women, we kind of get in our bubble and we're just in our bubble, and particularly now with COVID-19 and being able to see you too. And, you know, how Tasneem said, you know, focus on what you can do and not what we can't do. I think that's a huge mental health thing that we all need to take to heart. And then you, Erin, is like, don't be afraid to admit that you can't be a perfectionist. You can't have the perfect house and be the perfect everything. All you need to do is focus on those precious moments that you have with your loved ones right now, because that moment is gone. That 6-year-old is going to be a 16-year-old and a 26-year-old before you know it. And you'll be having those precious moments to reflect upon. So, that we may have not been able to have during this time. So it's always something, for me, there's always something positive. There's way more positive that we even allow ourselves to see, but that negative is always so prevalently thrown in our face. Remove this, like take one of those little clean things you use to clean your phone and your glasses with, and remove the smudge and allow the positivity to flow more into your life. And you'll start seeing opportunities that are things you can do versus what you can't do. And so I just want to thank you, Erin, and you, Tasneem, and of course, the lovely, fabulous, wonderful Dr. Kim for having this conversation tonight, because I think it's something very important that we women need to hear, that we're not alone. And our journey is a journey with us together. We're not alone. So we need to connect and support each other as much as we can.
Definitely. Thank you. See you guys next time.
See you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.